In the brutal depths of a cost of living crisis, when some people still have money for the cream on the top and far too many do not even have enough for the basics underneath, going for dinner in a space that was once a bank could be spun as brutally symbolic. Here is a former financial institution, still servicing those with enough filthy lucre to invest in a rich return, only in different ways. There's a joke in here somewhere about pork-based restaurants trading mammon for gammon, but I do have my pride. The point is that anybody with a scintilla of humanity should feel uncomfortable about being financially fine while so many others are not. Certainly, the last thing the economy needs right now is for people who can afford to do so, to no longer spend their money. Allowing more restaurants to go out of business because of a very British strain of middle-class embarrassment, only putting more people out of work while depriving food and drink producers of income, is not a route out of recession. It's a route deeper into it. And if you still think the restaurant business is some sort of rip-off, pursued by get-rich-quick merchants, perhaps you'd like to have a crack at it yourself. Sure, there are con artists in hospitality. There are in all sectors. But for the vast majority, the struggle is the same as for everyone else. A total of 83,900 refugees have arrived under the Homes for Ukraine scheme since it began in March. Refugees were matched with sponsors who agreed to house them for 6 months, and were paid £350 a month. Not all matches have been successful. Government data reveals that since the war began in February, 1,335 Ukrainian households, including 945 families with children, have registered as homeless. That figure is set to soar from next month. Analysis by children's charity Barnardos, Labour and the Liberal Democrats say that, based on feedback from refugee sponsors, between 15,000 and 21,000 Ukrainians could be homeless by the winter, rising to more than 50,000 by the middle of next year.
Interestingly, MUSU is also a sometime abbreviation for Manchester University Students' Union, which could result in a very different night out. There is still time to nominate candidates for the first Be Inclusive Hospitality Awards, launched by Be Inclusive Hospitality, a not-for-profit organization founded to advance diversity within the business by industry veteran Lorraine Copes. The categories celebrate food from across the world, including Africa, East and Southeast Asia and the Caribbean. Among the judges are Andy Oliver, diversity consultant Malika Barsu, and chef and MasterChef winner Shalina Pamilu. Nominations close on the 9th of September and the winners will be announced in London on the 24th of October. To nominate anyone in the various categories, including yourself, this is the biggest war in Europe since 1945. It is, for Ukrainians, an existential struggle against a new but familiar Russian imperialism. Our team of reporters and editors intend to cover this war for as long as it lasts, however expensive that may prove to be. We are committed to telling the human stories of those caught up in war, as well as the international dimension. But we can't do this without the support of Guardian readers. It is your passion, engagement and financial contributions which underpin our independent journalism and make it possible for us to report from places like Ukraine. If you are able to help with a monthly or single contribution, it will boost our resources and enhance our ability to report the truth about what is happening in this terrible conflict. Unlike many others, The Guardian has no shareholders and no billionaire owner. Just the determination and passion to deliver high-impact global reporting, always free from commercial or political influence. Reporting like this is vital for democracy, for fairness, and to demand better from the powerful. And we provide all this for free, for everyone to read. We do this because we believe in information equality. Greater numbers of people can keep track of the events shaping our world, understand their impact on people and communities, and become inspired to take meaningful action. Millions can benefit from open access to quality, truthful news, regardless of their ability to pay for it. Every contribution, however big or small, powers our journalism and sustains our future. This summer, the government again funded local authorities to offer eligible children a free meal a day and free activities under its holiday activities and food program. But Labour has slammed this for being a part-time initiative that operates just 4 days a week for 4 weeks during the summer holiday, leaving children hungry for the rest of the time. Charities are angry that the threshold for free school meals has not changed since 2018, despite soaring inflation. Attlee believes the government needs to introduce universal free school meals because so many families will be in desperate need despite falling outside the government's poverty threshold. The government did an extraordinary thing with furlough in the pandemic, because it had to, he said. Hunger will be the single biggest challenge schools face as children return to classrooms in the coming weeks, sparking calls for the government to introduce universal free school meals to help tackle the crisis. Already, 8 lakh children living in poverty in England do not qualify for free school meals, according to the Child Poverty Action Group, and now head teachers are bracing for rising numbers from homes that cannot afford to feed them properly. Last winter, I already had a group of children who stood round the radiator outside my office every morning because they had no heating on at home and needed to warm up, said Paul Gosling, head of Exeter Road Community Primary School in Exmouth. We will have far more children turning up to school hungry. Immerse yourself in a truly captivating city filled with intriguing souks, vibrant squares and superb architecture, plus experience stunning natural wonders. A visit to Morocco is like taking a journey back in time. It's everything you imagine it to be and so much more. It is a country of startling contrasts due to the legacies left behind by its past rulers and inhabitants, starting with the earliest records from Phoenician times, then coming under the sway of Carthage, followed by the Romans, and from the 7th century the Ottomans, and finally, the French. This has created a unique and utterly compelling country which today, although relatively close geographically, remains delightfully exotic, mysterious and unspoilt. Marrakesh is Morocco's most vibrant city, full of myths and mystery.
Madeline Gannon is a researcher, teacher at the Carnegie Mellon University School of Architecture and PhD candidate in computational design, but that's not all. She is on a mission to open up the infinite design possibilities of 3D printing to the world. Currently you have to have a lot of technical background in order to participate in creating things for 3D printers, Gannon says. There is still a huge knowledge barrier for how we create digital models. As the technology has advanced, prices have plummeted, and now anyone can buy a 3D printer for a few $100s, Gannon notes.
Underscoring the whole scene is the heavy drumbeat of musical troops playing their instruments, the sights and sounds of which are enchanting. The balmy warmth of the Moroccan evening adds to the atmosphere, and all this under an ocean of stars makes for a fabulous experience. The Moroccans themselves display legendary hospitality, culturally bound to offer help to visitors. They are extremely friendly, generous and open. One of the great delights when exploring Morocco is its exciting cuisine, and Marrakesh is a veritable food lover's paradise. Whilst our tour is on a half-board basis, to get an authentic taste of the local cuisine, you may choose lunch in the hotel, instead of dinner, to try the city's myriad of atmospheric restaurants and sample the local delicacies.
Have you ever known anyone famous? If so, you may have found that they are remarkably similar to the rest of us. You may have even heard them object to people saying there is anything different about them. "I'm really just a normal guy," protests an actor who has recently rocketed into the spotlight. There is, of course, usually a brief period when they actually start to believe they are as great as their worshipping fans suggest. They start to wear fancy clothes and talk as if everyone should hear what they have to say. This period, however, does not often last long. They fall back to reality as fast as they had originally risen above it all. In El Paso, bilingual education programs have helped raise student scores from the lowest in Texas to among the highest in the nation. Almost all public spaces nowadays have advertisements in sight, and all forms of media, from newspapers to the cinema to the internet, are filled with adverts. This all-pervasive presence reflects the value of advertising to us. Without it, businesses of all types and sizes would struggle to inform potential customers about the products or services they provide, and consumers would be unable to make informed assessments when looking for products to buy and services to use. Without advertising, the promotion of products and practices that contribute to our physical and psychological well-being, medicines to treat minor ailments, insurance schemes to protect us, clothes and cosmetics to make us look and feel better, would be infinitely more problematic than it is. Two decades ago, Kashmiri houseboat owners rubbed their hands every spring at the prospect of the annual influx of tourists. From May to October, the hyacinth-choked waters of Dal Lake saw flotillas of vividly painted shikaras carrying Indian families, boho Westerners, young travelers and wide-eyed Japanese. Carpet sellers honed their skills, as did purveyors of anything remotely embroidered, while the houseboats initiated by the British Raj provided unusual accommodation. Then, in 1989, Separatist and Islamist militancy attacked and everything changed. Hindus and countless Kashmiri business people bolted, at least 35,000 people were killed in a decade, the lake stagnated, and the houseboats rotted.